All right, well, thank you, everyone. The Berlin Select Board open meeting. Today is Monday, January 29th. 29th, thank you. I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, it's Dave, okay.
Sound on our community.
Open session meetings are open session public meetings. Your voice, your image and voice will be recorded. So we are calling them at 6:30. All right, so up first is the approval of minutes. One set of minutes in the folder to approve. Then it would be July 5th. Motion to approve.
A second.
Comments?
You corrections that were made, I talked with Jay this afternoon, just some typos,
Okay,
and so yeah, that's it.
okay. Did we already do that? I forget.
We did.
Okay, thank you. Motion in a second. Aye. All right. So we are on to general public comment. So before I invite anybody in the back or no one online, any general public comment? All right, so we'll move on. The United Sovereign Americans are here. I have allotted them a little bit more time than normally what we do, 15 minutes to speak. As the first person, who I believe is Valerie, is up. I will start the 15 minutes. I'll shut you guys down. Because that is the amount of time that was agreed upon. 15 minutes.
Right. You're saying, and I think I'm supportive, that we're not going to be strict. It has to be 3 minutes per.
Minutes in total.
So if one person goes a little long and someone else goes a little bit short, I think we'll have a little bit of leeway.
Oh, if you folks want to rotate and have Valerie, and is it Edie? And then Valerie, when you're done, if Pam, you want to slide in, and then Edie, when you're done, John, you want to slide in, you slide in, that'll get all you folks ready to go. So
Would you like us at the table?
Valerie and Edie, or whoever the folks are that will be
So
speaking,
are we at the table?
have a seat. It's
Oh,
easier.
thank you. That is so much easier.
And I'm gonna start, you wanna look, I'm gonna start the watch.
My name is Valerie Flaherty. I live in Attleboro. I'm a volunteer with United spokesperson. United Sovereign Americans is a nationwide organization with volunteers in over 20 states. Today, I come to you as a concerned citizen about our state voter database, uncovered through thousands of hours of our highly qualified and credentialed data team. While the numbers are difficult to comprehend, one thing is clear: they don't add up. Just like balance, so must our votes. If you had 10,000 fewer dollars in your bank account, you would certainly want to know what happened. And if a company had this significant a discrepancy, the company would most certainly conduct an audit. In fact, yearly audits are required for public companies. Our audit of the 2022 election using only officials shows that the 2022 election may not be legally compliant. We are not saying that one candidate won over another. Election should be overturned. The state's official data from a certified election, the votes as counted, were not all valid and accurate under the law. We will present you with a resolution demanding an end to uncertainty plaguing our elections, along with a summary of our findings and the laws that apply. To meet with you to go over this information, including more detail about the specific findings that I cannot answer, I will commit to getting you the answers in writing from the United Sovereign Americans executive team as soon as possible. This data and our request for an investigation will soon be shared with state election officials and law enforcement. It's essential that you, as our representatives, make it clear that these issues must be taken seriously. Today, we count on you, our closest elected representatives, for support and action. We're asking you to listen to the resolution, ask questions if you have them, and then vote promptly for its passage. Your action on this resolution will illustrate your dedication and your support to the concerns of your constituents and your country. Thank you. Our next three speakers will read the resolution in three parts, and our final speaker will conclude the presentation.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Edie Risser and I live in Lincoln, Massachusetts. I am also a volunteer with United Sovereign Americans and not a spokesperson. This is a resolution for a legally valid 2024 general election. Whereas it is recognized civil right in the United States for every citizen to have free and fair elections. Quote, and the right of suffrage can be denied by debasement or dilution of the weight of a citizen's vote just as effectively as by wholly prohibiting the free exercise of the franchise, end quote. Reynolds v. Sims, United States Supreme Court, 1964. Whereas it is the duty of our election officials to guarantee our elections are accurate and free from distortion or manipulation. Quote, Congress seeks to guard the election of members of Congress against any possible unfairness by compelling everyone concerned in holding the election to a strict and scrupulous observance of every duty devolved upon him while so engaged. The evil intent consists in disobedience to the law, end quote. In Ray Coy, U.S. Supreme Court, 1888. Whereas our constitutional system of representative government only works when the following four tenets of an election are upheld. 1, the voter rolls must be accurate. The National Voter Registration Act of 1993. Number 2, votes counted must be from eligible voters. U.S. Constitution 14th Amendment, Section 2. Number 3, the number of votes counted must equal the number of voters who voted. And 4, there can be no more than 1 in 125,000 ballots in error by the voting system, according to the Help of America Vote Act 2002. Whereas an open source audit of the Massachusetts 2022 general election conducted by Massachusetts state citizens has uncovered evidence of massive inaccuracies that violate both federal and state laws, including 751,317 ineligible or uncertain registration violations found within the Massachusetts State Voter Roll database, 265,046 votes cast by ineligible or uncertain registrants, 87,231 more votes counted than voters who voted in the 2022 general election. Nobody knows who cast those votes. And 265,027 apparent voting violations in excess of the legal standard of system accuracy for a valid federal election. The maximum allowable system errors for the 2022 general election in Massachusetts was 19. Certification is defined by law, and attestation of accuracy and compliance appears to have been fraudulent and illegal.
Hello, my name is Pam Coyle, and I'm from Mansfield, and I am also a volunteer with United Sovereign Americans and not a spokesperson. Continuing with the resolution, whereas these findings trample legal accuracy requirements of the voting system during a federal election. Accuracy is defined as the ability of the system to capture and report the specific selections and absence of selections made by the voter without error. Whereas the intent of voters must be known factually before certification can be lawfully conducted. Certification of an election that varies from the law is an abridgment of our civil rights as citizens. United States Thrall Marker, U.S. Supreme Court, 1878. Quote from time immemorial, an election to public office has been, in point of substance, no more and no less than the expression by qualified electors of their choices of candidates, end quote. United States v. Classic, United Supreme Court, year 1941. Whereas the Massachusetts 2022 general election appears to have been invalid, depriving us of guaranteed protection of our natural rights under a government duly and provably chosen by us, the American people, resulting in incalculable damage to our families, to our way of life, and to the fabric of these United States. Therefore, we call upon our representatives to provide relief to the people and the assurance of domestic tranquility by joining us in demanding a valid 2024 election. general election that upholds these existing laws and equitable principles of law. 1, proof of citizenship, identity and eligibility to register the vote, and not anonymous attestation. 2, voter rolls certified, accurate, and available for public review and challenged 30 days before starting of early voting. Voters added after that date must bring proof of citizenship, identity, and address in person to a qualified official at each polling place.
My name is John Murphy. I live in Worcester. I'm a volunteer with United Southern Americans, not a spokesperson. Continuing. Number 3, hand-marked secure ballots similar to currency, where imaging technology is used for tabulation. The security features must be verifiable in the ballot image. 4, systems, machines, security measures, infrastructure, and conduct are required to be compliant with federal law for fraud protection regarding risk assessment, certification, testing, and implementation. 5, adjudication must be signed off by party, candidate, and trained citizen witnesses after being given full and effective observation rights. Candidates and trained citizens must be allowed immediate access to ballots, ballot images, and cast ballot records. 6, ballots, regardless of entry source, election operations and systems must maintain end-to-end chain of custody from voter to vote count to final canvass, including auditability and witness transfer with paper records. 7, NATS compliant, randomized, statistically valid end-to-end audit with a 95% confidence level of all elections pursuant to the 14th Amendment, Section 2 must be performed. These audits are to be conducted by qualified, insured, and bonded security, forensics, or financial auditors, not personnel from within the election system. Reconciliation will include the vote count, real physical ballots, adjudication, cast vote records, ballot count, qualified voter count, custody transfer, and all other paper and electronic systems and logs. 8, if the total of the unique variances above is more than 10% of the margin of victory, the election must be held in the state for those candidates effective. A new election must be held, unless the issues can be provably corrected by a manual held recount and a review of records. 9, waiver of the requirements is not allowed. Only an end-to-end system compliance from registration through certification can guarantee the intent of the people is accurately recorded.
My name is Jeff Cohen. I live in Wilmington. I am also a volunteer and not an official spokesperson with the United Sovereign Americans. You just heard a powerfully written resolution outlining massive inaccuracies in the 2022 election from registration through certification. In it, you heard us ask for meaningful remedies that will proactively protect the validity of the 2024 general election for all Americans. In fact, the resolution cited many U.S. Supreme Court precedents that support the need for such actions. Laws are being ignored. Bottom line, checkbook is not balancing, and we need certainty. The voting system, which controls our most vitally important right, the right to choose our representatives, is not producing an accurate, trustworthy result. Do you think that these anomalies within our election system, a system which is part of our national security infrastructure, should continue to be ignored? How much is it costing us not to fix the problem? How much is it costing our GDP, our military, our foreign policy, our health, the self-esteem of our children and young people? And how much is it costing our dignity to keep fighting each other? The cost is immeasurable, so I urge you to show your agreement by passing this resolution. Our website showcasing our initiatives nationwide has some extremely informative videos that can explain the anomalies and apparent violations of law that are found here in Massachusetts as well as in other states. The website is uniteforfreedom.com. That's unite4freedom.com. I encourage you to check it out and learn more about our organization. One more time, that's unite4freedom.com. What you heard tonight is the culmination of thousands of hours of work by our highly qualified and credentialed volunteer data teams from Massachusetts and across the country. Let's step back for a second and look at the big picture. Large numbers of Americans, including many right here in Massachusetts, have questions about the trustworthiness of our elections. I think we can all agree we wish this was not the case. but official data shows these concerns are valid, and the law says resolving them is essential to securing our liberty. At the same time, government representatives at all levels are not being transparent or responsive to what our citizen audits have found. Our right to choose our representatives in legally valid and transparent elections is the foundation upon which our constitutional republic was established. That right has been bravely protected by over the past two and a half centuries by the sacrifices of our brothers, fathers, mothers, and sisters, and for some of us, our sons and daughters. You on this board tonight have a chance to show everyone who defended American liberty and the citizens you represent that you value it also by passing the resolution demanding a valid general election in 2024. We appreciate your time and attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
May I approach? I have copies for you.
Yes.
That would
thank
be
you.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The website referenced on these copies?
Yes,
Neil?
it is.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, moving onward in our agenda is a highway update. Come on up, Fred.
Thanks.
Nice sneakers. Do those go with the shirt so you truly can't be like run down in the middle of the road?
Yeah, these are my new running kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Can't miss my pictures. So first off, I just want to thank you all for keeping me around for another year.
Mhm.
I did read the email, I just haven't seen Mrs. Sullivan. So it was a busy month, but I only put in the big parts. So we planned with the all the excavation we've been doing. We had two more guys that weren't trained in competencies in trench rescue and things like that. So we sent them to the class that was sponsored by Bay State Roads, which is kind of a kick in the junk because right after I registered for them, Maya offered it. So could have saved some money, but it went to good use. So the majority of our days were spent finishing up Peach Hill Road. We had all the structures to raise to get ready for the hot top that came in. Once they came in, it actually got short on a Friday because of the rain. Otherwise, it would have been done that day. And then I found out later on from the company that for stuff like that, where it's a big project, we could pay them extra to have them raise the structures and do all that for us. And it's like, we have this much money to spend. So, which is why we opt to do it all ourselves. It just takes a little bit longer for the project to get done. And then we started doing all the driveways. Once the hot top was done, we let it sit for 2 days, and then we got back up there to start doing the hot top driveways, the dirt driveways. Those were finished that week. We only had one complaint throughout the whole project, which was, I think, pretty good for what was being done. And then as you're aware, CSX came into town, around the end of the month. I was very surprised. Like, I got no complaints. I got no phone calls, nothing.
Oh, you mean project
The,
Five
railroad
Corners?
tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 corners.
Okay, okay,
So
good.
I was
That's
pretty
great.
shocked.
Yeah,
Well, people were happy that the cars weren't being potentially wrecked by driving over those railroad tracks.
Yeah, well, we just picked up another wheel cap this morning.
Mm.
We were out there doing some weed whacking. But while the road was closed, we took advantage of it and we did some patch work on 62. That kind of saved us some time, which was a good thing. I think that was about it. I mean, there was other stuff, but I don't want to take up all your time. In our seasonals, we have the 3 of them this year, and it's been great. They're keeping up with the mowing.
great.
It's actually at the point where I'm kind of happy it rained because the grass is still growing. So they've been doing good. We just we're gonna have a meeting in the morning because they were sent down here today to do some weeding, and I didn't see much weeding up there. So there'll be a meeting in the morning.
Yep.
Still nothing on the bridge on South Street. Haven't heard anything back as to where it stands within the state's plan.
Is that something like our representatives can help us find out why that is not? Because that originally, I thought we were gonna get something back in May. I thought we were hoping we would have something in May. It would be done by this. Here we are, August or about to be August, and we're still just twiddling thumbs.
Yeah, and I haven't heard that, when we're supposed to reapply for the construction phase of the grant, and that's usually in June. So I didn't this year.
I was just gonna recommend to the board that Fred and I work together and reach out to Senator Kennedy and Rep. Kilcoyne's office and see if they can get it moving. Lori Trahan's office was able to help get the CSX project moving, and unfortunately, it seems that sometimes that's the direction that we have to push.
Yeah.
So we can work on that this week.
Yeah, because there's a lot of work being done in Boston,
Right.
about us.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of inconvenience for that road to be closed, and so it'd
Absolutely.
be nice to get the bridge
Yeah.
open again.
And the final commissioning was done in this building for the ACU. And then Ken has just been as busy as a one-arm wallpaper hanger,
Mhm.
doing little projects around the place. But we'll be taking him hopefully up to us to join our team. So we'll find out. I think that's all I have.
I do have one issue with your report.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the same issue I have.
What is the date?
Yeah.
No. The 155
Right.
days until the start of winter.
Yeah, yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
Oh, shame on you.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
that
I
was,
guess that's
that
the-
was
that-
then. What do you think it is now?
Yeah,
Tonight?
Oh, okay, so
No.
I've said something about that to my husband too. I said, wait a minute, that means February practically.
Yeah,
well, maybe that's the first snowstorm in February. We'll take that.
That's fine.
that's usually when we get busy.
Yeah.
The end of January, February, that's when the big
Yeah.
ones come. Oh, yeah,
No. No,
it's inevitable.
fine,
Well, it's 100 days or it's 100 days until the November election,
less,
Yeah, it's less than that,
99.
yeah.
less than
Yeah.
that.
so.
It's coming.
Yeah, I have one
No.
question too, all right, Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
I know it's probably not Berlin,
Mhm.
but right there at the corner of Donald Lynch Boulevard, where you turn left for the mall, if you're in the right lane,
Where the cone is.
what's up with that hole that is still there?
So,
It's got a pylon in it, so you
Well,
don't.
yes, it does.
so
I'll
this,
tell you how many times I ran into it.
so it had been going back and forth for about a year. I would send people to Marlboro because it's actually Marlboro.
Okay.
But the state maintains from the
Oh, geez.
interchange out so far. Because Marlboro went out and they filled it once. We filled it once. And now it's to the point, I think there's a cone in it now.
There
Yeah.
is.
Because they haven't come out to fill it yet.
So,
it's-
so who do you think will come out next?
Just
Uh,
when
the
they're,
state?
just state when they're doing the bridge, they'll,
Well, when you have them on the phone for the bridge,
Yeah,
maybe you could mention this hole that cars are falling into.
it's almost a trench because it
Yeah.
goes in line with your tire.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're
Because
gonna send the bills to the state, you know,
Good luck with that.
for auto repair.
I'm sure I can find a phone number to their claims department.
I have to say that the new mayor of Marlboro has been very communicative back and forth, so I'd be happy to mention it to him
Sure,
as well.
absolutely.
He's, I have to say, doing a bang up job. So,
Yeah, good.
That
That'd
could be
be terrific.
A
sure.
joint letter from Berlin and Marlboro about it, would.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
the DOT.
They're usually pretty responsive, but
It's just getting bigger and bigger, and
It's
if
been
winter
there.
comes and it's not fixed,
It's been there for a long
Yeah,
time.
but-
you're gonna be pulling
yeah.
cars out of that ditch.
And I didn't want to bother you, calling you up because I know it's not Berlin.
no, but I mean, the more people that we refer be like. this
Yeah.
one.
We have some leftover dirt at the community garden if you wanna just run back and forth across and
Across the street.
fill it in.
Yeah.
Got
Just
some
saying.
mulch from my data
Yes,
plant.
excess stones and all over the place.
This is true.
Oh,
Yeah,
it-
there's
it-
pieces of steel that we could pick up and drop in.
You got plenty of dirt still sitting up by the guardrail at Five Corners.
Could be our time capsule. Put something in.
Might be
Good.
deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks.
Well, don't go.
Oh.
So with the
Oh.
permission of the board, there's a little bit down under old business, there's the ARPA funds and there's an email in there from Fred about the old fire station and the blue tarp, which I saw shredding and was
Yes.
wondering if it was just me. So was wondering while he's here, if we could just talk about that.
Yeah,
So if
so
we go under
that-
old business.
that's the
it's-
second tarp.
It's which one?
That's the second one.
See, I thought it was
Oh,
the third tarp.
No,
Under old business, there's. If you go into ARPA funds, there's the letter from Fred.
There is.
It says, "Good morning. Do you know what will be done with the old fire station? The reason I ask, because the tarp covering the roof has shredded again. And is either going to need to
Oh,
be
the old,
replaced
oh,
soon,
yeah, got it.
Okay.
or should we plan on
It's
doing the
underneath
re-roof
and-
soon? This is the second tarp
And
we have
the- It's
installed.
the bottom one in old business.
And I know that seems like a strange place to put it. The reason I put it there was we talked about using leftover ARPA money for facilities
Mhm.
repairs.
Mhm.
So, and we do actually have a town meeting article to repair that roof. But we have not spent it because there are numerous issues with the building.
Yeah, I mean, you have the roof,
The
the
heat,
cement inside is all cracked. There's mold, holes in the wall, holes in the ceiling.
yeah, even the back wall, concrete parts.
I'm sure there's sewer issues that will need to be addressed and water issues to be addressed. So is it really worth it to spend the money to put a roof
Uh,
on a building that we haven't decided what to do with yet?
Well, that's the tough part. Like, if it's something we're not gonna keep, then it's probably not, because, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of money that's gotta be spent inside.
Huge.
And, I mean, a tarp now, it's probably $174.
Plus your time. Your
Yeah.
time to get up there and do it.
Yeah, it's like two guys, almost half a day.
So what do you think about the building?
I don't think we have a use for it. Honestly, it's a storage shed for several different departments.
Well, we do need storage according to several groups. But I don't know whether other buildings are in better shape to do that.
I don't know, I'd have a hard time spending money on a building that is nothing more than a giant kitchen drawer.
Yeah, but I'd like it to be part of a bigger conversation. I don't want to make any sort of final decision on the
yeah.
building. And so I think we end up in this weird sort of catch-22. If we don't spend this $250 odd, the building will get worse and it might become a self-fulfilling. But we decide, well, tarp and time
Tarp
to
and time.
put
Yeah.
up. That if like we don't do that, and then by next spring, the building, instead of needing X number of repairs, will need Y repairs if we decide that it's something we want to preserve for some reason or another. I mean, I'm not currently inclined to try to preserve it, but I don't want sort of entropy to decide it for us. I'd like to have that happen in a more planful manner.
Because you really can't park there, and pulling out on the 62 is nothing short of a death trap. You know, whether you're pulling out or pulling in, to there. So the tarp is what? You said 125?
Well, now it's probably around 174, 75.
Right, so a couple $100.
The same wood will be used. Screwed
So
up.
just rip it up, put it down, nail it down.
how long does it last for? About,
I'd have to look in the book when it was last done, but you'd be pushing a full year.
Yeah. and
so it
a year-
buys us a little
Right,
bit
it
more
buys us the
time.
year to have the sort of more thorough discussion of
Hmm.
what it really takes, what we'd really use it for, should
How
we
big is
really
your
take it
TV?
down, you know?
Gigantic.
It's over 50 by 50,
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
Yeah.
Job lots on?
That's what I was
We
thinking.
actually got it from Robinsons.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Job lot probably doesn't have them that big.
No, I don't think they do. All right.
I think I would recommend through the chair that we tarp it like you
Just tarp
said
it.
for one more time. And if it, I guess the question then arises, obviously, that's not a lot of money, but probably something you didn't have budgeted for in your
Yeah.
facilities budget. So
Do we pull it out of ARPA?
that was my
Yeah.
thought.
I would pull out of it, so the agenda, and I couldn't find the numbers for them, and maybe I just didn't look in the right places, but talks about for a second pole pad and clock painting as well. Is there a way to do that as a motion? What's the total for all three of those
We
things?
need to have a discussion.
We need to
on
have
that one.
discussions on all
Okay.
of them, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can tell you what we definitely have available, for funding. $15,000, which would, if you so choose to cover all, would cover all.
Well, we'll talk about the other two.
Yes.
I have no problem with pick a number 300 for the tarping of that building.
And a
Oh,
second.
whole paths, that's her. Yeah, go for it.
Second,
All right, so lots of discussion, so 300 would cover all the materials that you would need,
Oh, yeah,
correct?
most definitely.
All right, motion a second, lots of discussion, all in favor?
I,
Aye. All right, so we got a tarp for another year until we can figure out what to do with it.
Yep.
New England
no,
Blue
no
Roof.
longer than another year.
No. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, I just wanted to talk to you while you were
Yep.
here. Figured we'd just jiggle
Yeah,
stuff
no,
instead of,
That's perfect. And then if it is decided that you want to keep it and actually invest the money in the roof, I'll probably have to go for more because the money that we got, it was like 2 years ago,
you know,
at
but-
23,000, I think. So I'm sure the cost of roofing's gone up 5-7% since.
well, and unfortunately, I think even with the assessments that we received not that long ago, I'm sure you could probably whack on
Well,
3 to 5%.
maybe we could make a decision, you know.
Well, I would
on-
like
On
to,
a soon agenda,
yes,
and then, use ARPA.
Agreed.
If we need to.
Yeah, I thought our
next one.
our next meeting was set to talk about facilities as a whole.
Yep.
Mhm.
That was
Yes.
the item that we were supposed to send to Kristen. What you wanted the ARPA money.
Oh, I
used
just
for,
read that, I think
for
today.
the agenda, her goals list, what to come off and what to
Yeah.
move around. So that'll be for our next meeting,
That's next meeting.
Yep.
Yeah. which is,
2 weeks.
thank you. All right, so we'll get you your money for your tap.
Awesome.
Yay.
Cool. And thank you, for helping us get into Memorial Hall. It's almost like a joke. Honestly, how many people did it take to get into Memorial Hall? Me, Janet Woodward, Tim Wheeler, Barry, you, Jim. The door was locked. We couldn't get in with the keys. We all had issues with the keys, so I texted Fred with enough time and said, can you please help us get in the door? So,
Operator.
Mr. Fred and Miss. It was not operator error. Well, maybe it was, but yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you, Mr. Fred. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Stay safe.
I'm gonna go home and rebuild the toilet now.
Sounds
Your fun never
Sounds like a
ends.
Great evening.
I'm telling you.
Don't like being a homeowner.
All right, Kristen, you are up with your week on vacation town administrator report.
All right, so what I'd like to actually do, I have 2 items. The first is to turn it over to Chief Shartner because I believe he had an item he wanted to discuss. You're giving me like a deer in the headlights look. While he's coming up here, I will tell you that we are going to bi-weekly pay on November 21st. The last weekly pay will be November 7th and the first bi-weekly pay will be November 21st. We're meeting this week to work out the logistics and get memos out to everybody, but those are the dates.
Nice. Well done.
I'll put a reminder on my calendar to celebrate.
Excellent.
All right, Mr. Shatner, what's up? An unexpected surprise. How's Boston?
He's good.
Okay.
So the 2023 or 2023 cruiser we bought that I was told by Colonial was gray is silver.
Wasn't it not pink?
Yeah, so it was an off color, so the only thing we weren't able to do is swap over the light bar. So we're gonna take our existing car 5, which is unmarked, that's getting marked on August 2nd. So this car will replace that one, but I'm here to ask for another $2,300 in ARPA money.
2,300.
2,300 for lighting. I could have very easily denied the car and cost $7,000. But I quickly did not deny it. When they told me that the car I ordered the day after town meeting has been pushed off by Ford to 2025, and there's not a guarantee it's gonna be a hybrid. Ford is still in limbo if they're gonna make hybrids next year.
And are you getting a hybrid?
That was the
Yeah,
meeting. Sort of
this one is a
Yes,
hybrid.
that's what-
Yeah,
that was my
yeah,
question.
this one is a hybrid. There's rumors, Ford has not committed to yes or no. They may be stopping the hybrids altogether.
Hmm.
So, Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of like a potluck, what we're gonna get. So the rate we're going, this car has been in, the board approved it in December. And it just got like mostly built. I'm just waiting for the extra money to finish it off.
Is this the one that we bought ahead of time because it was
Yes.
a
Mhm.
Yeah.
great deal?
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, instead of color code TJ, it was UJ or vice versa. But, you know, the
So is
cars.
that color gonna work? Or are you gonna?
Yeah, 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 the color will work. It will just turn that into the unmarked and take the unmarked that we have that's the same color as our fleet and put mark, then mark it up. So we're just kind of flip flopping the cars back and forth, but. Yeah, so like, we're not even sure, right now, the 25s are slated to come in the end of December. And then it's 6 to 9 months from the build there, so even the car, you know. We used to order cars in May and have them in July. Now we're ordering cars in May and have them. This one potentially is gonna be 14 to 16 months after. So we can go through a whole nother town meeting cycle. I can get another car and I still won't have a car that we bought the year before.
What's the going price now? Ish?
Next car that I'm gonna come to the town for, hopefully I can do a full swap over. Well, actually, no, that's right now. That's the other thing too, is they're not even 100% sure. I budgeted for a full swap over. But Ford's changed the design a little bit, but they think all the equipment will fit, they think. But the one after, I'm probably looking at 67 to 82,000. 67,082 for, because the body will change and that will require new equipment.
Gonna get Abby busy. Have a big bake sale between now. and
Yeah,
later.
yeah, so like, you know, we're trying to find alternatives to control the bleeding. You know, I mean, 67 will give you a bare bones car and up to 82 is what they're going for right now.
And I'm sure other towns are in the same predicament we are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
hunt for the open car on the lot.
Yeah, yeah, every town's in the same predicament, so, you know, we're just waiting to hear. You know, we're hoping, you know, I was actually just visited by town down the Cape that I worked for back in '94, and they just switched over to Tahoes and pickup trucks, because those are guarantees.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't get cruisers, they couldn't get, as you know, the SUVs, so they you know, they have to have the vehicles. They put a lot of miles on their cars every year, and now they have to have vehicles, so they just swapped the whole fleet over.
My Nissan Rogue gets great mileage. Can you convert that into a cruiser?
As soon as the Michigan State Police decide it's a cruiser,
Cruiser Road?
yeah, road ready, then yes. I mean, you know, remember, every car we buy goes through tests. It goes over front end collision, side collision, rear collision, rollover. So as soon as Michigan State Police releases new models, then hopefully we can get out there.
Okay, what did you need? Do you need 23 or do you need a little bit more, or is 23 with the bunch?
I mean, the 23 will definitely get me there. If it goes over, I can use my regular budget and come back in February and March and ask finance for money. I can just take it out of my budget. I'm trying to keep it down to the dollars.
Is this ARPA?
That's what I'm thinking. And do we jack it up to 25, just a little bit more for buffer? And if you don't need it, then
Yeah.
just give it back. Just don't use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll do it that way. That's fine.
I'm fine with 25.
You find,
Was
okay.
that a motion?
Yes. Didn't
Second.
sound like it, but it was one.
Second,
Hmm. All right, so we have a motion, a second for $2,500 out of ARPA money for police use to
lights on a
swap
car.
around lights around a different color car. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Sharna.
Do you
Nice
have
to see
any
you.
other updates you needed to give the board? Was that the only one?
Oh, he's coming back in 2
was gonna
weeks.
say.
I was
Well,
gonna say,
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. It's more that I'm having vacation brain and I couldn't remember if there was something else that you needed to
Correct.
tell the board.
No, I think we're just working out the radios right now.
Yes.
I think that's settled, right? With Green Mountain?
Yeah.
Settled?
They agreed to the
Yeah.
one change, we agreed to
Yeah.
one change.
Yeah, so I think we
we're
have
all
a
set.
tentative plan on August 5th to get half the project done.
Perfect.
And I think August 5th, they're gonna start. We're running into apparently we did a handshake on Coburn Road and there's no lease agreement for us to be on top of that tower.
With American, that's the one with American
Yeah.
Tower that we don't have a
Yeah.
lease with.
Yeah, we have 5 antennas up there. And we want to take the 5 down, put 3 back. So, so I know they're working on that right now. Between the radio companies and the tower company, but. Yeah,
Mr. Scott, you have a
Yeah,
question,
sorry.
for Chief Shatner?
On the tower project, I had a discussion with someone in town who, there was disagreement about where the towers are and will be. So there's one on Coburn,
Cover Road and Taylor Road.
Taylor Road, and the new one is there a new one?
The next potential site is gonna be Coleman Suites.
Right, on top of the
Yeah, on
hotel.
top of the hotel. We have, right now, we have what they call a BDA on
Yeah.
top of the hotel, and that's really not doing us much.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a couple opportunities, that we have in the area, so. But, yeah, as of right now, there's nothing in writing.
Yep.
You know, we obviously need to get our other infrastructure up to make sure that that's the right location.
Mhm.
So I don't wanna
That's
order
fine.
equipment or focus on one location.
Mhm.
If the other two get up and they say, "Ooh, wait a second, you know, we need to be, you know, a quarter mile this way or a quarter mile that way."
It'll shift.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That is good enough for the conversations I was having.
Yeah, I mean, it's a, you know, radio systems are like science,
Mhm.
you know, it's just a hypothesis. You know, if we put it here, here and here, it's gonna work this much, so. Where we're actually updating our original infrastructure, then we're gonna get the true readings of where we need a third site.
When is Boylston gonna get,
Boylston's up in Northborough, but they have $150,000 tower, I think, still sitting in that parking lot. That's not erected.
but their cell,
Their cell coverage, I saw the 4G equipment for Verizon or 5G for Verizon going up in L70. I don't know if that's up yet.
hmm,
But we did pay to tie into
fiber.
the fiber optic that ran from Tohoto to BMS. So we'll be able to put our radio system, you know, smaller version radio system up in Tohoto so we can have radios up 70. And of course, at high school.
okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thanks.
thanks, Chief. See you in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving along into old business, since we've already been kicking the opera can, let us continue to kick the opera can with a second poll pad request.
So this is my error. There were supposed to be 2 requested, but the quote showed 1. However, the request was actually for 2 in the email. I missed it. So Lisa was just asking, they really do need the 2 to function effectively
Yeah, what
with
is it,
this.
poll pad?
The check-in for voting,
So check in, check out.
voter registration.
Paper?
No.
Nope, it's a little iPad
iPad.
almost.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm, that helps with, it will speed up the process and hopefully improve accuracy, as we were speaking about earlier.
So the 32 that's being asked for,
Does not include the warranty that comes in the second year for for $300 per pad. So we did do it for 35 for the first pad, so that's why I was recommending it for the second.
so do you have any idea off the top of your head what the whole voting machine and poll pads, is it about 15,000-ish?
So it's 13, let's see, initially we allocated $10,000, then we added the poll pad, so that would be 16,500.
Again, peg math. Okay,
If I did that math right, that's not right.
so 32.
Hold on, that's what we expended, I'm sorry.
so 32.
So $10,000 was allocated for the
Voting
voting
machine,
machine and
Yep.
35 for each poll pad, so $7,000.
so
So
17.
17. I was close, but I was looking in the wrong column.
So it would be an additional 3,200,
35.
35.
35, I'm sorry.
Yep, and that would bring the total for the voting machines and the poll pads to 17,000.
Okay,
And I get I mean, I support going to the electronic system and it's gonna make counting faster, but I believe the box that we're using cost us significantly less than lasted us, you know, many
Mhm.
years, where the electronics will not last us
Mm.
more than probably 5 or 6 before they have to be replaced.
Yeah, I think you're probably correct. We do have the warranties, and I believe you're talking at least 5, but who knows with technology and you know better than most of us, so.
Well, and you don't know with the cost of the poll people, with the cost of the
Right,
police.
Yeah.
The poll people, the police, the accuracy,
Right.
there's a whole bunch of reasons that are not just the cost of the device,
Correct.
but
And that's what needs to be looked at. And we're looking at rolling this out for the November election or for September? Or-
September.
September primary.
The ballot box is here, the new one. And,
Locked in, stored away?
oh, yes,
Okay.
so. This
So,
is the next
would you like
step
a
in that
motion?
process.
I would like a motion for the 3,500, please,
3,500.
for the other poll
More.
pad. Yes,
All right.
so it's
Okay.
32 for the
Gotcha.
pad and
We
300
did the
for
other
the
one
a
last
while
meeting.
ago. Yep.
Okay.
So I'll make that motion.
Oh, you're
Add-
making the motion.
I thought you paused, so I thought you were waiting for me to do it.
Oh, no, I already said it.
Okay, I second that.
Okay.
All right, so lots of discussion. Any more questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of 3,500?
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next up on the agenda is,
Anyway, the agenda had clock painting on it.
yes, that's where I was going.
So I always thought, I'd already gone down the path of like a second pole pad. I'm thinking, where do we have a flagpole that needs a pad that, and so I went down the wrong path with that one in my brain. Where's a clock that needs painting?
Barry is here to assist us with this evening, this evening at the church. Apparently we own the clock itself. And the tower is being painted. The face of the clock needs to be painted. Barry has brought a quote for $4,000 and is requesting that funding out of ARPA funding. I will let Barry, if it's all right through the chair, speak to it a little bit more.
Absolutely need to come up with it, Mr. Rader.
I'm not here to advocate for a contractor or any of that stuff. But we've been painting up there and we do have a little more to do on the top of the tower. And while that's being done, perhaps it was a desirable thing to have the clock faces painted also. They were last done, I think in '07. When we painted the building the last time. And so if you wait another 15 or 17 years before the next time, it may be pretty ready. At any rate, this is an opportunity. It's a proposal and an opportunity that I suggested that the contractor give us a proposal on it. So there it is for you to consider. It's
So I was
totally up to you.
I was really unaware that the town, you were telling me the town paid to, or put the clock face up there? Or how
No,
did
the
that
town was
work?
given the clocks
Uh,
as a bequest in 1882.
Okay,
A bequest which it accepted. At that time, it was a set of works and
so the town got it,
yeah,
not the church.
that's correct. It was a town clock to be placed in the church, in the tower of the meeting house. And the town didn't have a better place to put it. So that was what was given as the bequest, and the town voted to accept the bequest. For many years, the town paid for somebody to go up there and wind the clock every week, and they had great big boxes of rocks that were the weights for the clock and so forth. And that went on until 1952, I think it was, that Herb Guild, who sat on one of your seats, was a man who liked to electrify anything, and he got tired of paying bills to have things fixed, so he put in 3 electric clocks. In 1963, when there was work being done on the tower, the board approved letting the old clockworks that were sitting there unused at that point for a dozen years or so. And those were essentially given away, junked. So we don't have any of the old clockworks or any of that stuff anymore. We just have 3 electric clocks and the clock faces that are left that are that are the town's responsibility. For many years, we had a separate meter on the building to run the electric clocks for the town. But in about 1990 or thereabouts, without telling anybody, the electric company decided there was nothing on that meter and they had it they took it off. And the clocks didn't run for a while, and after a while, somebody looked into why, and it was because the power wasn't there anymore. So they ended up hooking it to the church, and the church is paying for it, paying for the electricity now for it. At any rate, that's why this comes to you, is because the clock faces belong to the town, and at least some of the time when they get maintained by the town.
Is there some kind of a written agreement or anything between the town and the church? or-
Only the acceptance of the bequest and the church's acceptance that that could be done
And that was
back in
the
1882.
1800s.
And there is a trust. We looked into it a little bit today. There was some money initially given to the town in, I believe it was 1970. A donation, excuse me, that has
Oh.
grown now to $4,100.
That I would support. I'm just concerned that some taxpayers might not want to pay for, they have their taxes go to pay
A church.
for, the church
Mhm.
clock.
It's not the church's clock, it's the town's clock.
I know, but nobody knows that.
It doesn't matter, it's in a church to me. You know, and I support you. I mean, I don't want to use ARPA money for this.
Mhm.
The one concern or two concerns I have is that even though it was donated or bequested to the town, it is on private property. And then the second is that $4,100, from what we can tell, and we'd have to do some more research, relates to fixing the clock so that it strikes, from what we could find. And that again is from 1970, so we were trying to dig that up. So I'm not sure if that would apply to painting. We'd have to research that further.
When the original works were there, it struck the hours on the bell. When they electrified it, that no longer was the case. And so this was an attempt at one point to raise money to get it to strike again. But that has never gotten to the point where it had enough money to do it, or that a proposal came up that would work with it.
That's right.
We did try at one point with an outfit that said they could do it, but they did not prove to be able to deliver, so didn't happen.
And it's not that I don't like hearing the bells on Sunday. And
This just
it,
says nothing to do with bells on Sunday.
I know, but the clock itself, I guess. I think I just am concerned that some people might not want to spend the money that way.
Scott, any?
But if there is a fund that would help to do that, then I
Yeah, but
think.
we don't know if it can be used for that.
Right, but if you find that it can, I think that might be an opportunity for the clock.
I'm gonna make it my retirement career to find all these little tiny funds and lines in our town budgets and find a way to reduce half of them so that
We
don't
would be
have
very
all these other things.
grateful.
But I don't think I can do that while I'm still working and doing other stuff, but, I mean, if it is property of the town, we should maintain it. If we're not planning on maintaining it, then we should find a way to, well, or make the church whole, and as if it comes down, cover it over or whatever.
But there
I-
may be a way, like Kristen was saying.
Another, oh, sorry.
I wish we had some more. I get the opportunity because, you know, the company that's painting it has the cranes and people who can paint and all that other stuff already there. And so, you know, if we did it as its own separate project a year from now, it's going to be significantly more expensive because still we'll have to have someone who will have to come in with cranes and or whatever buckets and whatever the right stuff is to make it happen. I'd like to know more about what we can do with that fund, because I can't imagine that we are in the near future, far future, or ever going to really talk about putting bells back on that tower. And if we have a fund that goes on for another 100 years that can only be used to add bells to that. Maybe find a way to, for $4,000, we add bells that just can't be heard from the ground and we do it. But anyway, I would look into that further. That probably means there's probably not a good opportunity to act fast enough to take advantage of this piece, which is disappointing, but I agree. I think we need to do a little bit more to get into it.
Correct. Because even if, you know, to Chris's point, even if you say it is a town-owned clock, people will say it is in a church and there is a separation of church and state. And if we do for the church in the center of town, then we also have to do something for St. Joe's when they approach us. If they
Not
approach us.
necessarily, it is town owned. The town accepted this. It has been town owned property. It's not a debate about whether or not it's
Did you
town
know about
property.
it?
Not necessarily,
I
but
didn't
but
either.
it, but I wasn't here in 1888 when the town decided to accept it. And so if I,
Neither was
I might have debated differently in 1882, 88, anyway, when it happened, but it has happened. The town has accepted money to repair it in the 70s, which implies that we still at that time believe that we are still responsible for it. Because if the town believed at that time it was a church responsibility for the clock, we shouldn't have accepted money to repair it. And so.
As time goes on, the cost goes up too.
Right.
Right, and I mean, this is, I mean, we find these sort of things on a regular basis of handshake deals of on that we have radios on towers and who pays for the lighting of the flag at the place and a septic system that is
The
on
tree.
several different people.
That
And
is.
Did
I
you
mean,
get
that's,
Christmas?
and
I
it is,
know, yeah.
it is sad that I think as society we've gotten where these sort of,
I know.
you know, warm fuzzies, everyone
sad.
sort of generally wins, and sometimes it's more on your side and sometimes it's more on my side. It's just not as
Right.
easy to do. I mean, I've said at this meeting several times, you know, we can't have nice things anymore because rules have gotten
You
so
don't take care of them.
persnickety on things.
Right.
So,
Which,
yeah.
to your point there, the cleanest thing
Right.
to do, which may not be a popular thing. Obviously, we couldn't give that $4,100 directly to the church, but if we could actually figure out who gave us that money, that funding could be returned to the donor who could donate it to the church, and the town perhaps could donate the clock to the church.
And so they could dictate how the money.
As soon as assuming the church wanted the clock.
Yeah, the
Correct.
church one.
If the church will accept it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't think that we have enough information right now. I'm not comfortable making any type of motion or vote on doing anything with the clock painting tonight. I leave
Agree.
that to you. All right, Scott.
Yep.
Okay.
I can tell you that one of the chief donors, if not, I don't know, there were perhaps a few, but one of the chief donors to that fund was Charles Edward Cotting.
Charles Edward
Cotting,
Potting, okay.
i.e. Chidco.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Kristen, June, I suppose that's part of, I don't know, is that something you can help us with?
Hmm?
Okay.
We'll do some digging and see what we can find.
Well, why don't we'll just drop it on a future agenda, probably not for next week, or
2 weeks.
2 weeks, thank you, what that looks like yet, maybe August we'll hit it. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Ager, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. So next up is the review of the German consulate visit. So I've pinned for Scott. And I've pinned for Chris
Congratulations.
Yay.
and a lanyard
My German heritage will be happy.
Oh,
and a lanyard.
Okay.
Dee, did you get a lanyard?
No, ma'am.
One for Dee.
the D.
These
Kristen,
are
I think
like-
you need a lanyard.
Okay.
If
I
we-
got my pen
If
all
we
right.
get too many of these, we have to like declare these as
I know.
gifts of a foreign government trying to influence.
And if you could pass the Berlin, Germany flag back to Dee for safekeeping.
Neat.
For that. So no, it was a great visit with Dr. Kreibesh.
And what did you learn?
It was interesting because she I think she was just as interested in talking to us as we were talking to her.
Mm.
And she asked the folks that were there, you know, kind of like what's on the town's mind. And we talked about schools and education and taxes and the welfare of people and climate. And she said those are no different than, and the election, they are no different than what we talk about on a daily basis. So it's kind of cool that you think these are just Berlin issues, but they're not. They are
No.
Berlin across the pond issues. We were the first Berlin that she visited. I think she's going up, she says she's going to Vermont next.
Yes, and the other two towns had not responded yet.
Oh, yeah, she said that we were the most energetic. So,
We're the best one. I think we're the best.
I think we were the bestest one.
We might be as good, to me, we might be as good as the one in Germany too, but
I think so.
we're a pretty good town.
But you know, residents came out, people baked,
good.
you know, shout out to Mary Porter who dug out some old German cookie recipes and made them, and they were thrilled. Dr. Krybesh and her social media person, Liz, were thrilled, and they brought him back to the consulate, and I got a letter from a woman at the consulate praising us and thanking us for the cookies. They were all going to enjoy them with tea and coffee that afternoon. But I just think it was a great experience for a diplomat that she said because of her love of maps,
Mhm.
she pulled out the New England maps and started looking
yeah.
and went
There's a lot of Berlins.
4. There's
Yeah.
only 4 in New England. So she presented us, you know, with pins and lanyards. I got a Berlin bear. I have the Berlin bear now. Just saying. So everybody else who thinks they found the Berlin bear, I've got the
Oh.
Berlin bear
Mhm.
now for that. So I told her that I would probably display it on my name tag and
You
hide
gotta
my
take it out of the
eyeball.
package
I'll probably have to take it
and
out
then
of the
stand
package.
it up.
Yes, and hide my eyeball. But it was great. Clinton Item was there. So shout out to Ken. He did lots of interviews, took lots of pictures. So I'm kind of hoping that they will have something in this week ready to go. I told Liz that we would send it forth to her as well. But people shared stories of when the German students were here, when we went over, friendships that are still there from 20 some odd years ago. Barry brought pieces of the Berlin Wall. We found the old Chronicle piece on Berlin, and when I was talking to Liz, it was Berlin and Florence. Her sister lives in Florence, Italy, and so she sent her the thing and said, look, there's another Florence, you know, in the US. We found the video. I can't remember the woman's name. She was a German filmmaker who was here in town about 20 years ago and did a little piece on Backroads USA in 2013, so 11 years ago. So we found that, we put it on a thumb drive, or I should say Dee put it on a thumb drive. And we gave it to her along with other like little Berlin stuff. So it was just a great opportunity. It was very cool. She was down to earth, was not what I expected at all. You know, it was very humble to come and join us. After she left us, she went over to 19 Carter for a quick visit, went down to the general store, you know, shout out to Ed and Melissa for giving coffee, and then she was headed over to Cordelia's for some blueberries before they went back to the
Oh,
consulate.
Good.
So it was a nice meeting, so thank you to all the residents who came out and helped and visited. It was rather cool. And I had to wear pants that day and actually dress up and look like an adult, so there you go. All right, so next up, is a carryover on discussing, talk about the public comment policy. I know that one sticking item we had was to allow or not allow non-residents from speaking at a meeting, and Kristen, I think you were gonna look into this.
I did, and there is a proposed revision to the document, but I have a further proposed revision that I just added in yellow. If you're able to open it up on your computers, I will read it. If you want to limit it to folks here, the recommendation is to add a sentence that says, public comment is limited to town of Berlin residents, businesses located in the town of Berlin, Berlin Town employees and employees of the Berlin-Boylston Regional School District and employees of the Assabet Valley Vocational Technical School. Because you don't want to leave out local businesses or school. And I did ask about, do we specifically need to call out boards and committees? And she believes all members of town boards and commissions are also residents, so they would be covered. The only difference could potentially be school committee members, which I just thought of from Assabet and
Can
Berlin-Boylston.
I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I was thinking about this too, and what if on top of, if anybody further than what you've got listed here, there was another group of some kind that was from out of town, what if the board would have to agree to allow them to come and speak? I mean, we'd have to be on an agenda. You know, it might be to our advantage, you know. It depends on, I mean, what if it's someone who wants to come and propose, like we're looking for someone to put up a new building, for example, and someone would, from out of town, would like to come and speak to us about it from their firm's point of view.
I think that I would say that would, to me, would follow under businesses located in Berlin. If someone's preparing to buy something in Berlin, potentially, and
No,
I
mean
think
the
for,
town building something,
uh,
the town building.
I think if you can't find someone in the town of Berlin to, or Berlin business to represent you for it, then I
Really?
don't think
We didn't hire someone to build the highway barn from Berlin. That's what
Right.
I'm talking about.
but if someone's doing an RFP and wants to talk to us about their RFP, then I don't think they're necessarily coming here because if you're trying to bid and proposing on something, you should go through the formal bidding and proposal
Right,
process. You're
right.
not necessarily coming here for that. I just, once you start putting, I mean, this is, I think, where you get in trouble, is that we have the, except when we say yes, and then you get in trouble because you say yes on things you politically agree to, and you say no to things you don't politically agree to. You just violated the rule. We're trying very carefully to craft this and not to do.
Okay,
Yeah, I do. I feel that that would bring us down that slippery slope.
then you
of-
need to add the school committee members.
So I think she just did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Kristen, what about, like representatives from Meg Kilcoyne's office or Robin Kennedy's office? They're not town residents. I mean,
Yeah, it could go on, the list could go on. I mean, maybe it's
The-
the
the-
chair who
but
decides
if
or
the-
something.
For those people that aren't coming for public comment period.
oh yeah, that's true. They're not
This
public
is people
comment. They
coming
would
for
come for
public
a
comment period.
specific item.
Most likely.
Okay, all right, never mind. All right.
Because we always can have people who can go, I mean, we can always set agendas for, and invite
Absolutely.
people on,
Yep.
because we invite lawyers to come in and talk to us. on
Okay, so
certain
this is
topics.
just public
This
comment.
is for the public comment period.
Okay, all right.
You must fall into these sort of categories.
All
And
right,
I expect the school board generally to be invited guests and rarely in public comment period, but they should be allowed to, I think, come here and speak to us, because I think that would be relevant.
You know,
And-
the way
and
things are
I'm-
going, they might
and I'm-
want to speak.
Well, this, as I was reading this, I don't find a way to craft this, is I would love to be able to ask some clarifying questions of people during public comment period. And how you draw, and I can't find a way to draw that line where it doesn't become debate.
Yep.
And so
Correct.
I think we just have to, and we might sometimes just apologize that, like, by the nature of the rules of the state, we really can't engage in conversation with, so you're gonna do a presentation and leave. And that's gonna be the end of that. And so,
It's easier to enforce
Yep.
the state's
Oh, yeah.
rules
yep,
than to chance that, you
Yeah,
know,
I
you're gonna
agree.
get into a debate with somebody.
as I said, it's unfortunate, because I couldn't come up with a way that
Right.
would, that would define that line in a way that was clear to everyone where that line would be.
Yeah.
And that was part of the struggle. We did sort of address, you know, the fact that it is not an unrestricted public forum to air opinions on matters beyond the select board's purview. But
Right.
to your point, how do you determine what they're going to speak on if you can't have that back and
Well,
forth?
I
Right,
didn't
and-
know what these people were gonna
and-
speak on.
And
Did
so.
you know?
I knew it had to do with concerns about voting.
I didn't even know
Right,
that.
and so I think in some respects, when someone's at public comment, I think we could as select board and chair did, like, I think we could cut someone off if we didn't think it was relevant to
Mhm.
the town of Berlin.
Correct.
You know, which I would have
I wanted
loved to have
say
asked them
I wanted to
today
say
of like,
we
what
count
about
ours,
these? Well,
Literally count them.
well, what about their presentation had to do with the specifics of town of Berlin? But that
But
did
we
want
do
to-
tally votes here, so there.
Yeah.
It's, there's a
No,
tie.
There
yeah.
was a tie that they had concern about election integrity. We run elections in the town. I do, and I'll follow up with you more in email than public meeting, but the chain of, not the chain of custody of ballots, but Eloise has some control over elections, but we also have some control over elections because don't the poll workers sort of work for select board and not the clerk? And so I don't know where that line is of what is select board purview, what is town clerk purview.
Select board appoints the warden.
Warden.
I'm not sure about the poll
I
workers.
think
can check.
Eloise appoints
I
the
think she
people
would
who
be
do the
local
counting.
people.
It was more out of curiosity that I don't think anything is going wrong, and I think that we do well with our elections and
Okay.
proud about the high turnout we generally get, but
right. So let's
but-
circle back. So on this, Kristen, are you proposing that you take out the
take out the
Pinkish.
wish, yep.
and
Correct, I should have done a strike.
pop it in with
there.
the,
Oh, yours is pink, mine's blue, mine's green.
How do I do a strike?
yeah,
Well, it's
All
Pearl
right.
because she's highlighted.
okay.
No, it doesn't. Sometimes Google makes me a little crazy. I don't see the strike through option, but yes,
It's
I'm
like-
proposing we
Yep.
take out the pink that's in blue or perhaps a different color. And what I updated to the yellow section was employees/school committee members from the Berlin-Boylston Regional School District and employees/school committee members from the Assabet Valley Vocational Technical School. Which I
Okay, so you're
think
taking
covers
out
us
the,
pretty well.
you're taking out the old
Yep,
language,
Yes,
Yes.
the green/pink.
yep.
Yep.
the
All right.
two lines above it.
All
Okay.
right,
And that, I believe, was the only.
Yeah.
change.
Yes, that was the
Yep.
only comment, or the only question that we had.
Everything else remains the
all
same.
right, so motion to approve the new language of the policy on public comment at our
Second.
select board meetings.
All right, motion and a second, lots of discussion, no questions, nope, none, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. All right, we'll make this effective tomorrow.
Immediately.
August 1st.
Mhm.
We
When
won't have,
was our,
I
when
mean,
was our other one effective?
we don't have another select board meeting until the
August 1st,
15th,
makes
so it's not gonna,
August, so you say August first?
well,
Or-
August 1st, but I mean, we don't have another select board meeting until August 12th, and so
Okay.
pick a day between those two.
Well, I think we need to have it in place before the
Well, why don't we
agenda is
just say
done.
tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah, so why don't we just say tomorrow?
Yep.
If the edits can be made, and they'll be laminated and hung up like the visitor code of conduct?
In the meeting rooms?
Yes,
It'd be nice, yeah, be
They
nice
only-
to have that one at least laminated.
Oh, we
and
could put them on the
wall.
table.
The
Okay.
select board public comment period probably only needs to be in this room,
Oh,
because other boards don't
sure
have
they
to
don't
follow
do
it.
public comments. Alrighty,
But they can also have their own policy if they have public comments. This is select board public comments.
all right, so scooting down into new business, we will talk about an agreement, execute a potential intermunicipal agreement for a regional housing consultant.
Through the chair, this comes at the request of the chair of the Municipal Affordable Housing Trust, which is Lisa Wysocki. We currently have an agreement that is expired as of June 30th, 2024, for basically affordable housing services, consulting, assistance with our SHI and the other documents that we have to submit to the state. This went out to bid. As you can see, if you scroll down, the bid document is attached. And the recommendation is to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the towns of Berlin, Harvard, Hudson, Bolton, Boxborough, Littleton, Lancaster, and Stowe. In the Hudson Municipal Affordable Housing Trust. And these services would be provided on a 3-year basis for the term. Town of Hudson would be the lead municipality. And there is a fee structure that is outlined per service. I can tell you, we've been spending less than $7,000 a year on this. That is that affordable housing line item that comes into the budget. And so this is being requested to be approved by the select board this evening.
And does this mirror, this agreement, does it mirror what the other towns have put forward, that they've duly authorized?
What do you mean?
Well, see where it says, on the first page, Town of Harvard, Town of Hudson, et cetera, et cetera. Does this agreement basically mirror their
Oh,
agreement?
yep, they're signing
Their
the same.
language? Okay, so everyone's signing the same document.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you actually go down to page, I just lost the page 17, it breaks out what hours and services we used in FY '23. You can see, I mean, we do have a significant amount of affordable housing in Berlin. We used about 44 hours, 44.5 hours of their services, and we still brought that in under $7,000. So it's an effective service. They know what they're doing. It's a highly technical field that we certainly don't have the capacity or capability to do in-house.
Right, this is sort of a continuation of something we've been doing for a while.
It really is. We
Which
just have to
fair.
put it back out to bid.
Mhm.
Any other questions on this?
Nope.
I move we approve it.
Second.
All right, hearing no further questions, all those in favor of executing the intermunicipal agreement for a regional housing consultant? Aye,
Aye.
all right. All right, chug-a-lugging through, next item up is to send a letter of thanks to the town of Leicester for the voting devices, which we used at our special town meeting. This request comes from our town clerk, Eloise.
A motion to approve a letter be sent to the town of Leicester. Thanking them for their voting devices they lent us.
Yes, second, it was definitely needed because we went over the number we would have had otherwise, and that would have caused more problems for a meeting that was already logistically messy.
All right, the only comment I have is, can we just make sure to, the date. July 25th, where tonight's the 29th, if we approve it, if we could just update that date up here, top.
Is that the letter?
That's the letter. The letter is in your folder. It says.
There when
Yeah,
I looked
because I
before.
started it on the 25th,
Oh,
but I do have a few others signed tonight.
All right, so the letter for those here, they're watching us. Dear David, his name is David Genero. He is the TA for Leicester. On behalf of the town of Berlin, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the town of Leicester for lending us your town's electronic voting devices for our special town meeting. The use of these devices allowed us to conduct the meeting with accuracy and speed, ensuring a smooth and orderly process. Having had our special town meeting on one of the hottest days of the year, without your devices, the residents of Berlin would have had to endure the heat much longer than to vote by ballot. This collaboration between our towns is a testament to the strength of community spirit and mutual support within our region. Please convey our thanks to all involved in making this possible. Should the town of Leicester ever require assistance or support from Berlin in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out. We value the relationship between our towns and are always willing to reciprocate the goodwill extended to us. Thank you once again for your generosity and assistance, all of us.
So this just went in today, Dee?
Yes,
Okay.
I just finished it and dropped it in today,
Okay,
late.
okay.
All righty.
And I guess as a quick reminder, if the 7 people who walked off with one of those voting devices on
we're
election
so
day
short.
could return them, that would be greatly appreciated. The 7 were from that town. We've replaced them with ones that come from this town, so Leicester was made whole. But if people could return them, that would be great.
We'd like to be whole too.
We would like to be whole as well.
All right. Last item up under new business is a consideration of an application for a one-day special pouring license submitted by Jonathan Muldoon of Clover Road Brewing to be utilized at 19 Carter on August 10th, 2024.
So, and all of the requirements have been met for this.
Certainly have, yes.
All right. So motion to approve.
Second, although I have a question.
Go ahead.
Last year, or maybe the year before, there was definitely some neighbor concerns about all the events that happened at 19 Carter. I was just wondering if this year we're seeing the similar stuff. I think some efforts were made to reduce the impact, but I'd love to know if we've heard problems.
None this year, nor last year.
Good.
But is it? As I was thinking about this, I was just getting a little confused as to I know that this is the owner of Clover Road who's asking for the one-day pouring license.
Mhm.
And 19 Carter does not have to, what would it be, an event?
They're a private. owned
So
building.
they're private owned, so they are not at whatever you call it.
Correct, they don't need a special one-day
Right.
license. or
Okay,
anything, 'cause
I'm
they're
just-
not a town
I'm just
building.
confirming that.
The way our event license works now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's for town-owned property? For a special event license?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, just for, sorry, special event license is just for town-owned property right
Okay,
now,
gotcha.
so
All
you're
right.
absolutely right.
That's what
Well,
I was.
I would say not just town owned, I would say it's also for public property. For instance, we just approved one for the golf course, to be at the golf course,
Right.
but that there's a parking lot and a road involved as well, so that's why.
Okay. All right.
And because there's a liquor involved, so it's a little more complicated.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so we had a motion and a second and a question answered. Any other questions?
No,
All right, all those in favor of the one-day application license for Clover Road?
I,
Aye. All right. Checking along through, we are up to board questions and any liaison updates.
I was just gonna ask Kristen if she could let us know when you hear from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Nothing yet. They did tell me it would be a bit. I did not reach back out because I didn't want to force
You're on
them.
vacation.
Well, no, not only that, but I just, they did tell me it would take a little while, but
Yeah.
that they were on it, so I didn't want to be rude. But yes, I will certainly let you know as soon as I hear
Okay.
back from them.
Appreciate it.
I'm all good.
Right, I'm good too. The only thing that I do ask, with the board's permission is just, we have a quick moment of silence for Tom Sharon.
I didn't know.
Yes, unfortunately, Mr. Sharon passed away this weekend. His wake was today. So where he was a former, oh, I hate doing this,
It's okay.
Berlin employee. Respect to his family. If we could just have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. All right, and with that, we have no need for an executive session. So, anybody got a motion to skedaddle?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, no further questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
See you in a couple weeks.